Good morning, YouTubers. Thanks for joining me again to one of my rants. I got to thinking about some of the things that we've done in the last year or so that are really sort of just now becoming popular or more mainstream, and was putting together a list of topics to talk to you guys about. And the topic on the top of my list was Office 365. Lots of people have questions about Office 365, so so that I can be sort of unbiased, if you will. I'm going to do a two-part series on the good of Office 365 and the bad of Office 365. Now, so that you don't run out and buy Office 365 right away, I have decided to start with the bad. Okay, whenever you decide to move email services, whether it's an on-premise self-hosted private email server, or whether it's an Exchange service, or whether it's an Office 365 kind of deal, it's sort of important to think about how you're using your current email product and how that translates to a new solution, because things are not exactly the same. And I won't be covering necessarily all of the intricacies today. I'm just going to touch on some of the things that we have experienced in the last several years with those customers who have been interested in Office 365. It's also important to note that most of our customers typically do not go with Office 365, but a handful do. It's a better fit for some than others. So once again, I'm trying to be unbiased here. Okay, so let's get into it. The bad of Office 365. Okay, so the very first point here is that Office 365 is not a private email server. So that's a whole nother topic of conversation. Do you lose security? Do you lose features? Well, I'm not really going to cover that today, but just know that it is not a private email system, okay? I'm not going to get into the details of that. That's something that you really need to talk to your IT professional about. Now, one of the major selling points of Office 365 in the past has been the price point. As you know, with an on-premise solution, you've got hardware to buy and licensing and migration and so forth. Now, with Office 365, the price points are really very reasonable. However, the total cost of ownership is probably a lot more expensive than what you're expecting. And let me quantify that. So whenever you move your email systems to Office 365, your IT staff will no longer have complete, full control of the thing. Yeah, they'll be able to log in as admin and be able to do most things, but in our experience, there has been quite a few support requests that have been submitted to us where we simply don't have the ability to fix the issue. And we've had to submit a support request with Microsoft and get them involved. So what does that mean? Well, that means you're adding a layer of complexity to the support. It also means that things may take a little bit longer to get resolved because you can't go directly to your IT people and have them resolve all of the issues. They may have to then in turn go to Microsoft, and then there's a whole period of time that you may have to wait while all of that sort of transcends that support process. And so when I'm saying that the total cost of ownership may be more than you think, and that's just because the time to resolution may be increased because your IT staff doesn't have full control of all aspects of it. So the longer it takes for a support request to get completed, typically the more expensive it is because there's more time involved. Okay, So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, you pay, the $6 or the $15 or the $20 a month per account, but if those support requests are more frequent and if they take longer to resolve, and that equates to more time, that typically equates to more dollars. So over time, the total cost of ownership may be a lot more expensive than what you think. So definitely think about that if price is your only motivating factor. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to discuss is about how the frequent updates of Office 365 are bad. Now, I'll talk about how they're good in the next video, but for today's topic of conversation, it's about how Office 365 is bad, right? So the frequent updates can typically break integration with other programs and systems that you're using. Okay, so let's say you're using some proprietary software specifically designed for your industry or your business, and it integrates with Exchange or something, or Outlook or something. Well, Microsoft is pushing out frequent updates, and when you download those, or when you are forced to download those in many cases, that may break a lot of the integration with proprietary third-party tools. And then when you go to your vendor for that product, they may say, hey, you got to buy our new version to be supported with the new version of Exchange, or they may not have the mechanisms in place yet to support it, and may not for some time. So if you're a company that uses a lot of proprietary application or a lot of integration, Office 365 may not be the best fit, because there's things that could be frequently breaking. And once again, that could increase your total cost of ownership, because there will be a lot of troubleshooting, or could be a lot of troubleshooting to fix those things, and certainly some support calls and conversations with vendors. So something to think about. Now, one of the most prevalent complaints that we have heard about Office 365 is the fact that they typically nickel and dime you. Okay, let me quantify that. What I mean is, for those people who were previously using on-premise email systems, they would have the ability to create essentially as many inboxes, as many emails as they wanted. And you really only needed licensing for the amount of people that were accessing all of that information, right? So you're in a situation here now where if your company has a lot of turnover, or if you need a lot of separate actual inboxes, not aliases and other things, Office 365 will bill you for each of those. Now, in some cases, you can get away with aliases or shared boxes or other things, but there are some idiosyncrasies to those, and those don't always work for every situation. So it's important to talk to your IT guy about moving to Office 365 before you do it, and to figure out what your real cost is going to be. And once again, if your company has a lot of turnover and you need to retain sort of that email history from previous employees, or keep those inboxes live and do forwardings and different things there, over time, your Office 365 bill will dramatically increase. And so what you're going to get into here is increased monthly billing. But then in order to reduce that, you're going to ask your IT guy to do some cleaning for you. And well, so guess what? There's some additional time that must be spent there, where maybe you didn't do a whole lot of that in the past because you had a lot of room and you had your own private email server, and it wasn't really a concern. So there are some more kind of maintenance routines and some more administration of things that may have to transpire whenever you move to Office 365. So that's another important thing to look at. Those are some of the most common things that we've heard about Office 365. And some of the bad. Now, we didn't touch on some of the other components that are, or other features rather, that are part of Office 365, like OneDrive and SharePoint stuff and all of this. And so there are some definite idiosyncrasies to how those work. And I will just tell you from firsthand experience, those other features work pretty well on an individual basis, but as of today, they do not work very well for teams of people. And OneDrive specifically is certainly not a good replacement for a file server. And they're sort of falling short in that area with respect to their competitors on the cloud storage and cloud file server type functions. So we didn't touch on any of that. I just kind of wanted to mention the main things that people tend to use, which are the email part and the Microsoft Office part. So once again, if you're thinking about moving to Office 365, consider the bad. Talk to your IT guy. Find out if it's a good fit for you, and give do some due diligence and give some scrutiny to that process before you move. Because migrations are a little bit of a headache sometimes, and nobody wants to move things 2 or 3 or 4 times. And it just causes headaches really for everybody. So making a good decision up front is really important, and certainly I hope that you have a really good IT professional to discuss. If not, of course, give us a call at MDH Technologies and we will be happy to discuss your IT needs. Once again, I'm Matt Hunn with MDH Tech, and I greatly appreciate your time. Come on back to listen to some more of my videos. I hope that they're useful to you. Thank you.